Hello everyone. So today we are going to do a very interesting topic, that is designing of staircase. Okay, so let's see. So when you are going to design a staircase, you need some data. Okay, so what are the data that you need? That is the area where you need to design the staircase. So here it is given 3 meter cross 6 meter. So if it is the area of the staircase, so here the width is 3 meter and the length is 6 meter. Okay, so in between this area we need to design the staircase. Okay, so considering this particular area we will design the staircase. Now what other data you need? That is the floor to floor height is 3.5 meter. That means what? Suppose we have, this is the first floor and this is the second floor. Okay, so we need to provide here the staircase like this. So that means what? This is flight. So this is the height of the flight 1. Okay, so consider, if we consider the total floor to floor height is x, so the flight, that means the height of the each flight is x by 2, right? Now if we, now here we need to provide the riser and tread, right, in this way. Now considering the height of each riser, suppose if we consider the height of each riser is 150 mm. So if we get the total height of each flight, we just divide the value of each flight by 150 mm. Then we will get the how many numbers of risers we need to for the single flight. Okay, that means from this position to this position how many risers we need. So simply we will multiply that with 2, then we will get the total numbers of risers for the both of these two flights. Okay, so this data we need, that means the floor to floor height data that we need. And if we got the value of the number of risers, then we will also can determine the number of treads, because number of tread is, you already know, riser minus 1. So if we got the number of riser 20, so 20 minus 1, that will be 19. Okay, now the grade of the concrete and steel. So definitely, as the material is made of RCC, so definitely we need to consider a particular grade of concrete and a particular grade of steel. Okay, now here it is given the support width is 230 mm at the end of the landing. That means for this case the support width, if we consider this is the total area of the staircase, so the support is at the end of the landing. So this is the end of the landing, here it is the support, and this particular width is given, that is 230 mm. Okay, and yeah, there are some landing portion is there, and in between the landings there are steps are there. Okay, so these are the steps, and this is the landing, this is another landing, and this is the support width. Now the last one, that is the available width of the stair. So available width of the stair, that means this particular one, that is already given 3 meter cross 6 meter. So the total 3 meter is available. Okay, this 3 meter we consider total value, that means the width of the staircase is 3 meter at the time of designing. So let's start the designing of the dogleg staircase. So it is actually dogleg staircase. There are other types of staircase also, like spiral, helical, quarter turn. You already know that is completed in the building material and construction classes, right? So one by one we will designing. So first we will start with the dog leg staircase. Okay, so let's start. Same question. These are the given data, 3 meter across 6 meter that we have already gone through. So let's start the solution. So first, what we need to do is we need to assume a length of each flight. Okay, so assume length of each flight is 1.35 meter. Okay, so that means what? If we draw the staircase over here, so flight means you already know. If we draw the steps over here, so we considered the length of each flight is 1.35 meter. That means this particular distance is 1.35 meter. Okay, so if this is 1.35 meter, so what will be the space between the two flights? That means what will be the value of this particular gap? So the space between two flights is, we know the total width, that is 3000, or you can say that is 3 meter. So what will be the value of the space between two flights? That is 3 minus 2 into 1.35, or you can say 0.3 meter. Okay, so this is the first step, that means to determine the space between two flights. Now the float to floor height, the float to floor height is given, that is 3.5 meter, 3.5 meter, right? So the each flight will have how much value? Because if we make the elevation view, so if we make the elevation, it will be something like this, and it is given that the float to floor height is 3.5 meter. So what will be the height for each of the flight? That means this one, this is nothing but 3.5 by 2, right? Similarly for this case also, that is 3.5 by 2. So here you can write height of each flight is 3.5 by 2, that is 1.75 meter, right? Now we consider the height of each riser is 150 mm. That means we have the steps like this, right? So we consider the height of each riser, this portion is 150 mm. Okay, so here we have the total height, that means the height of the flight is 3.5 by 2, that means 1.75. So we need to provide here the risers, right, like this. So how many numbers of risers we need to provide for the single flight? That will be 1.75 by the height of the single riser, right. So now we will consider the height of each riser, height of each riser is 150 mm. Okay. So how many numbers of risers we need to provide in a single flight? So number of riser in a single flight will be 1.75 by 0.150, that is in meter, right. So it will be near about 11.66. Now we will provide, it is near about 12, so we will provide 12 numbers. Okay. So if the number of risers for single flight is 12 numbers, so the number of tread will be, that means this particular portion, this is called the tread, right. So the number of tread will be 12 minus 1, because we already know the number of tread equals to riser minus 1, and that is equals to 11. So this gap is 0.3, right, and this is 1.35 and this is 3. So till now whatever the data we get, we have written over here. Now yes, one thing is that the number of riser over here, that is 12, and the number of tread will be 11. That means we will start the value from 1, 2, 3 and here it is up to 11. That means we have 11 numbers of tread in a single flight. Okay. Now just I am removing this portion. Now we got the total number of tread is 11. So now you are considering the, so now we are considering the width of the single tread. This particular distance is 300 mm. Okay, that means if we consider a single tread, this one is same as this, so 300. So we got the total number of tread is 11. So what is the total So what will be the distance from these 2 points? That means if we consider this is A and this is B. Okay. So what will be the distance between A and B? That will be into 300, and that is 3300, or that is in mm, so 3.3 meter. Okay. So that means the distance between the A and B is 3.3 meter. So what will be the value? That means what will be the length of the landing? That will be the remaining portion, this portion, for the both of these two sides. Okay. So the remaining portion, we know the total length, that means the total length from here to here, that is given in 6 meter, right. So this is 6 meter. So what will be the value of these two portions? So the landing, these two are the landing, right. So the length for each landing will be 6 minus 3.3 by 2, right, and the value is 1.350 meter. Okay, that means it is 1.35, and here it is also 1.35. 30.35. So, up to this it is very much clear. The number of riser is okay. I am just removing this portion. Now what you need to do is we need to determine the effective span. We need to determine the effective span. Now, to determine the effective span for the staircases, we need to go to clause number 33.1 in IS 456 2000. Okay. So, let us go there. So, this is clause number 33.1. So, here you can see the effective span of stairs without stringer beams shall be taken as the following horizontal distances. So, there are 3 such cases, and depending on the case we need to consider the length of the effective span. Okay. So, one by one I will draw the support condition, and I will show you what will be the effective length for those cases. So, in the first case, here it is said that where supported at top and bottom risers by beams spanning parallel with the risers, the distance center to center beams. That means, in this particular case, if I draw the diagram over here, suppose that is the first case. If we consider the support is, that means if the beam is present at these portions, okay, look here, where supported at the top and bottom risers by beams, that means this is the bottom riser and this is the top riser, and if it is supported by the beams, that means in this portion if we have the beams, the effective length will be the center to center distance between these two beams. Okay. This is the first case. Now, the second case, where spanning on the edge of the landing slab which spans parallel with the risers, a distance equal to the going of the stairs plus at each end either half of the width of the landing or 1 meter, whichever is smaller. So, here we need to consider the figure number 17. So, let us see where is the figure number 17. So, this is the figure number 17, and here you can see if the support is given in this particular portions, okay, for the both the sides. So, for that case we need to consider these conditions. That means, if this is 2x and if this is 2y, we need to consider the length of the effective span either g plus 1 plus 1, where g is the length of the going, that means this portion, and or g plus x plus y. So, x, that means it is the half width of the landing, and here it is also. So, x is the half of the total length of the landing and y is the half of the length of the landing in the opposite side. Okay. So, this is, if you consider 1 and this is 2. So, we need to consider the minimum value of this 2. Okay. If you can see this table the chart also. Here it is also given the same thing, but yeah, uh, now the third one, that means this particular thing where the landing slab spans in the same direction as the stairs, and they shall be considered as acting together to form a single slab, and the span determined as the distance center to center of the supporting beams or walls, the going being measured horizontally. So, this condition is given in our problem. So, here you can see the support width is given, that is 230 mm at the end of the landing. So, in our case this particular diagram, if we draw this, that means the sectional view, so here the support is given at the end of the landing. Okay. So, in the third point here it is given the, so if the beams are present at the end of the landing slabs, so we will consider this effective length of the span, and if the beam is present at the top and bottom risers, so we will consider this effective length. Okay. So, in our problem we will consider this particular thing, because here it is given that the support width is 230 mm at the end of the landing, that means it is present over here, end of the landing. Okay. And this width is given, that is 0.23 if you make it in meter in both the sides. Here it is also same thing, that is 0.230. Okay. So, this is the, in this way you can determine the effective span from the clause number 33.1. Okay. So, let us remove this. So, what will be the value of the effective span for our case? That is 6000, because you already know this is 6 meter. So, 6 meter plus here the support width is 230 and 230. So, 2 into 230 by 2. So, ultimately what we get, that is 6230 mm. Okay. This is the length of the effective span. Now, what we need to determine, that is the effective depth. So, in beam design and slab design we already determined the effective depth. So, this is the common thing, and if we consider the clause number 23.2.1, same, that is IS 456/2000, we know the span by depth, that means the Lx by d is equals to 20 for the simply supported case, the maximum value, and into the modification factor. Now, if we need to determine the value of this modification factor, we need to consider a PT value, right, that means the percentage of steel. So, here we will consider 0.3 percentage. Okay. So, let us go to the clause number 23.2.1, and from there let us determine the value of D by putting the value of modification factor. So, let us go there. Yes. So, here you can see this is the 23.2.1, and for the simply supported case the maximum value is 20. Okay. So, and we need to multiply a modification factor that we have already done in case of beam design and slab design. So, I am not going to discuss the same thing. So, how to determine the modification factor? So, we need to consider the figure 4. Okay, figure number 4, and here we consider the percentage of steel, that is the PT, that is 0.3%, right. So 0.3% is something over here, because this is 0.2 and this is 0.4. So now we need to consider the Fs value. So which curve we need to consider, right. So to determine that, we know the formula Fs equals to 0.58 Fy AST required by AST provided. So initially we know that AST required equals to AST provided. So if we put this condition over here, so that we get 0.58 into Fy, that is 415 in our case, because our grade of steel is Fe 415. Let us check. Yes, this is Fe 415. So what will be the value here? That is 240.7, that is in Newton per millimeter square. You can see over here. Now we will consider this second curve. Now if we make the intersection point of these two value, we will get something near here, right. And the modification factor regarding this point, that is 1.2, 1.4, this is 1.5. So we get the value of modification factor, that is 1.5. So let us put there. So the modification factor value is 1.5. So if we put the value of modification factor 1.5 and the value of Lx, the effective span, what will be the value? That is 6230. So if we put the value, we get the small d, that is 6230 by 20 into 1.5, and the value will be 207.67, 207.67 mm. Okay. Now I just remove these things. So the value of D that we got, that is 207.67 mm. So what will be the value of the overall depth, that is capital D? So you already know that if we have the main reinforcement over here, and if this is the small d, the overall d will be, we need to add the half dia of this reinforcement and the clear cover. So we consider the dia is 10 mm, okay, and the clear cover is 20 mm for the mild condition. If this is not given, you can consider the code, definitely the exposure condition will be given then, okay. So capital D will be 207.67 plus 20 plus 10 by 2. So ultimately the value will be 232.67 mm. So we will consider 250, I am making a round of mm. So if we consider the capital D 250, so the value of D will be, the updated value of D, consider it is dx, it is 250 minus 20 minus 10 by 2, and that is 225. Okay, so this is the updated value. So at the time of moment calculation or any kind of calculation, we will consider this 225 mm value. So let us write the summary up to this, whatever the data we get. So the data that we get, that is effective length Lx, that we get 6.230 meter. The overall depth that we get 250, let's write in mm, millimeter, and the small d, the updated value that we get, that is 225 mm. Okay, so let's remove this. Now what we need to do, we need to go to the next step, that is the load calculation.